location at the Love Studio. My guest today is Tom Davis, aka Dr. Love, and we're talking with him about his career in radio and as a musician. So come join us with a conversation on what's happening in these streets. I want to welcome you, Tom, to the What's Happening in These Streets. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Always, Loretta.
Yeah, thank you so much. But actually, I want to talk with you about your story. And I noticed that you are part of the Navy branch of the military, right?
Super fine.
So,
No, not super fine. No.
But I want to thank you for your service.
It all works in there together.
Yeah, it does.
There's a story that goes along with that.
Exactly. So let's go back to the beginning, your birthplace.
Well, I'm from a little small town. It's up on the Illinois-Wisconsin border. We try to think of it as a big town because for a long time it was the second largest city in Illinois compared to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But now things have changed a little bit and they got some other suburbs of Chicago that have gotten larger. But it was a great place to come from because a lot of musicians, they would come and live over there as opposed to living in Chicago. Because it was cheaper.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your history of how you got into radio and how was that developed?
Well, as most young people, they develop a passion at a very early age. Mm-hmm. And my passion was radio.
Okay.
It sort of intrigued me.
Okay.
And because I had some uncles, and they had a little radio broadcast that they would do, and sometimes that was when they were just invented. What they had, first of all, they did it on reel-to-reel, mm-hmm. and then they invented it. They invented the cassette player.
Okay.
So we would do it on cassette.
Okay.
And then take it to the radio station per se itself. And you can imagine being a young person, you go into this radio station, and then you come outside and you can hear yourself and all that stuff. It's very intriguing.
So how old were you when you first got introduced?
8, 9, something
8,
like
9?
that. Yeah.
And you were doing what at the station?
I wasn't at the station. We were doing it in our living room.
Okay.
And we were pre-record the show, much as what people are doing now.
Exactly.
And then take it to the radio station.
Okay.
And so I was like, my job was to read the commercials and do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the commercials was like, they was from the local grocery store, and they would have those collard green specials, mm-hmm. chitlins, and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So listen, tell me a little bit about your history as far as the military, and what was your MOS, what was your job?
Well, in the military, I was a field medical corpsman, but I later became a technician. Okay. Which technician is, there's like, the Navy controls basically 3 branches of the service. Mm-hmm. They control the Marine Corps, mm-hmm. The Navy SEALs, and the Seabees. Okay. And each one of those branches, they have their own medical support team. Mm-hmm. And so I became part of a medical support team for the Marine Corps.
Okay. And so you were saying also that you are a Purple Heart
recipient,
yeah.
I sure am.
And so how did you acquire that?
Basically, it's when someone shoots at you and you can't get out of the way in time. Mm. And hopefully if you just get wounded, or you can get killed, and they still give you a Purple Heart.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
interesting. A little history there.
Yeah, there's a lot of history. And then you said also that you were the only African American in your unit, as far as your medics?
In the training, mm-hmm. The training part, I was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me a little more about your tenure with being a technician. What was it?
Basically, it's very simple. Okay. Like very simple. I went to Vietnam, mm-hmm. and then after that, I was on a ship, mm-hmm. and then after that, I was in the reserves.
Okay, and it's just that simple. In that order, right?
In that order.
But
in other words, I made it.
Okay, you did, and I'm glad you did. It's
Mm-hmm.
always, it's such a privilege to be sitting here talking with you.
It's a privilege for me too.
But listen,
Yeah.
you are a very interesting individual, because you would tell me more about your radio
How I began
developing. Yeah.
developing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in Minneapolis,
Okay.
and I was taking mass communications. That's where basically I was doing television more than radio at first.
All right.
But then I found out that hey, I could go to this one school, Elkins Institute,
Mm-hmm.
and learn more about radio in a rapid sense rather than staying there and learning about television. I was working at KTCA, which is the television station for the University of Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
and I sort of excelled. But I was going, so then I said, hey, I can handle this with a breeze.
Mm-hmm.
But I started going to Elkins Institute
Okay.
to learn to get a first class FCC license.
Right.
And because that meant you could actually put your hands on these people's stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Millions of dollars
Yeah.
worth of equipment,
Mm-hmm.
And actually I did very well.
Okay.
And so then what happened was I got married, moved back to my little hometown, and nobody would hire me, so I ended up being an insurance man.
Okay.
And so that didn't work out too well. And
Mhm.
so I ended up going to Dallas, Texas, and going to work. Well, it actually worked out well because I ended up going to work for Mutual New York.
Right.
And back then, I'd say the early 80s and stuff like that, late
Mhm.
70s, they had a policy of hiring one black person.
Okay.
And then they would and if you excelled, they would ask you, hey, you know anywhere I can find any more black people like you?
Okay.
And so anyway, that was that. But anyway, I met these guys, and they were trying to build a radio station.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy named Lorenzo Milan, and he's pretty, he was a pretty influential type guy.
Mm-hmm.
This other guy named Taryn Mitchell, who was a senator, and he had wrote this proposal
Mm-hmm.
for community radio stations to I guess to assist. You know that statement that they read at WRG.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I can't. I think it was the voice that
To give people a voice that don't
voice.
have a voice.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, this brother wrote that.
Okay.
And he's kind of a good friend of mine. He was a senator. And no, I don't think he was a senator. I don't know if he was a senator or in the House. But anyway, he wrote that. It was called my mind. It was called the Community Radio Act.
Okay.
Or something like that. To let people in different communities have a voice that didn't have a voice. Because keep in mind, all radio stations are community radio stations.
All of even not
All of them.
commercial.
They're there to serve the community.
Okay.
And they might not show it, but that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you also said to me that you were like an insurance agent.
Oh yeah. I met these
and
guys.
you worked for Hinckley.
Yeah, John Hinckley Sr.
Mm-hmm.
And his son shot the president, shot Ronald Reagan.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I was working in this neighborhood. The office was in this neighborhood
Right.
where, if a black person was driving through that neighborhood in Dallas, they would get stopped and
Okay.
given a ticket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, American history.
Right. Exactly.
I think the neighborhood was called Highland Park.
Okay.
And see, my mind is like so clear. I can remember all this stuff.
That's good because see, information.
I'm 100 years old.
But listen,
Yeah.
the information that you have from your experience, it's sort of like you were part of developing non-commercial radio.
I was I can be called a pioneer.
Right.
Because I've been instrumental in getting some like 12 or 13 radio stations on the air from the ground up.
Exactly. When you all took the tower up the hill.
Yeah, and when I was,
So tell me about that.
Well, that was in Little Rock,
Mhm.
after I did my stint in Dallas, because Dallas was it was a hard station to get on the air too, because we were working with zero. We actually door knocked, and we'd knock on the door and tell people, "Hi, I'm from the whatever radio program, and we're trying to build a radio station, and we're going to serve people like you." And that'd be in the trailer park. And we just need a little donation, and we made enough in donations to get that one on. And then the one in Little Rock was a little bit different, because we had a bingo game that would raise like some $70,000-$80,000 a week. So that made that one that made it easier for me to get a paycheck.
Exactly.
But I wasn't doing it for a paycheck, because what happened was I was in Chicago.
Right.
And I got a great job working for this company called Distetner. But my passion for radio made me leave that job and go to Kansas City.
Okay, so
you help these people get this radio station on the air that they haven't been able to get on the air for 10 years.
So you also, because of the passion you have for radio, you were able to be an instructor at the Columbia School of Broadcasting.
Yeah, that was in Dallas.
Okay.
I don't even know if they're still around.
No, they're not. You know, and Elkins is definitely not.
Yeah, they're dead.
Yeah.
But a lot of people came through those kind
those
of schools.
two schools, and actually, if you attended, and you know, DeVry had a radio broadcasting school as well here in Atlanta. But if you came through those three institutions and got the second class, first class license, then you were eligible to be. You were more like qualified to be on the air.
Well, as a minority, it kind of helped you get your foot in the door.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, up until a certain period of time, there was only AM stations. I think that was
I think FM came around about 82, 83.
Maybe, yeah. And,
around that time.
Not a lot of black people were on FM.
Now, with FM stations that I remember during the startup process for FM radio, and that was, I guess that was like 82.
Yeah, it was about that time.
Yeah, and so that was the first urban, I'm not going to say African American, but the first urban FM station here in Atlanta, because
well,
we
it was
had
like that all over America.
Just one station.
It'd be 1, 2.
Okay, well, speaking in terms of you and your history as a radio announcer, I know a creator of non-commercial stations, you were able to also be here at WRFG here in Atlanta, and the wattage was low. They had low wattage, and you came in and developed that station.
Well, really, I didn't do it.
Who did?
God. No, I didn't know. Anyway, what happened was...
Yeah, God did do it.
Well, it was the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They had a project called the Blueprint Project.
Okay.
And basically, I was like in charge of going around to like New Orleans and Tampa and all these places where they had 100,000 watt licenses, but they were unable to develop them into their fruition of being a 100,000 watt radio station.
Okay.
Because of lack of staff, lack of enthusiasm on the parts of the owners, but they had deadlines where they had to like do something before it was too late. And I just happened to be over those programs, and I saw this station in Atlanta as an opportunity to get out of Kansas City. Because Kansas City, I didn't see that going nowhere.
Well,
Kansas City's a great place, though.
Yeah,
I'm not saying nothing bad about Kansas City. But Atlanta was better then because it was the black Mecca, it was the music Mecca, and they had all these, I knew friends in the music industry, and they said, oh man, we can remove our offices to Atlanta.
Okay.
And like Warner Brothers and places like that. And I knew all these people because I had been working all over the country and playing their music.
Okay, yeah.
And so when I got the opportunity to come here, I jumped off the boat.
Okay. So you think it was a good opportunity once you got here? Or
Yeah,
did it?
I like Atlanta. Atlanta's a great place.
What you like about
It's
it?
a lot of opportunity for minorities
You think?
if they take advantage of
And how would they take advantage of it?
it. Getting involved.
Okay.
And a lot of the getting involved is probably getting involved in the political process.
Okay. Yeah. The political process is
You're from here, native,
I
right?
am. I really am. Yes.
But you don't wear feathers.
No.
Okay, all right.
Was that the
Just
home
kidding.
of the brave?
Just kidding.
The home of the brave.
The home of the Braves, you know. Yeah.
But no, the political aspect is changing. I think the young people are getting more involved with Mayor Dickerson. What is his name? Dickerson. Being the Andre. Yeah. He is a young person, you know, getting involved in the city and the culture, because he's a native as well, right? So coming here, I was under your leadership at WRFG, and we did a lot of engaging in the community, such as asking people to vote. Remember, we did the live remote on Auburn, trying to gather people to get information about voting. We also did the Freaknik coverage. Remember that?
I sure do.
Yeah, and we, WRFG, was the only station on the ground, if I recall, really covering what was happening.
Yeah, we had the, I can't remember what we call that. We call that the Soul Patrol or the Freaknik Patrol or something.
Something like that.
But people that were instrumental in that.
Yeah.
Remember Shaka Zulu?
Yeah, I remember.
He was my lead person on that.
Okay.
And we had this one company that they gave us a bunch of little Jeeps. That's when the little mini Jeeps first started coming on. And we were just all over town in these Jeeps. And
covering the story.
I forget what the technology was then. I think we might have had to call in on the telephone.
You did, but, because you had...
Because I don't think they had it like we got it now.
No,
I don't
they
think
had,
they had cell phones.
No, we didn't have the cell phones, but they had like, you know, little remote things. No, you did have cell phones, and you called in on the cell phone to the station, and the station would patch you in on the board.
I think Abdul was
Abdul, this man Abdul that we speak about,
he's instrumental in everything.
he has a wealth of information, a wealth of information. But back to your story, I find you interesting because not only are you engaged in radio or insurance, whatever you've done in your life, you always put 110% into it, right? So, you want to comment on that?
Well, when you say 110%,
yeah,
I think it's very important to say that whatever you do in life, you got to put your all into it.
exactly.
If you don't, you know, you're not going to get what you want to get out of it. And that's the main thing in life, is you got to get what you feel that you want.
Right.
Even though you're helping other people.
Okay. And with that, I would like to ask you about your musical abilities.
Or lack thereof.
So, do you play an instrument?
Edom.
You play what?
I play Edom, you know.
Oh, you play
I'm
Edom.
not a virtuoso.
But
I've always, since a child, I've always had an inkling to want to be a musician.
Really?
And being in this field, you get an opportunity to express yourself.
Okay. So do you think radio could be acknowledged as a form of art?
Absolutely, radio is art.
So how would you explain?
Because you have to have the skills, you have to have the knowledge of knowing what it is that you're playing. And you have to play it with compassion.
Right.
Like if you're playing a John Coltrane thing, you got to look in your mind, did I ever meet that person? A lot of times you meet these people.
Okay.
And you get a chance to, like, hey, give other people your idea of what these people were about.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's definitely an art. It's an art thing.
I think with you and your expertise in so many different things, I noticed how you were also a pioneer with the Royal Peacock here in Atlanta on Auburn Avenue, which is, the Royal Peacock is one of the Black Mecca entertainment facility in Atlanta. Actually, my family, they would go down to the Royal Peacock to the different concerts, right? And so with the the Auburn Festival that you did and the Royal Peacock, you would have these young people come in and perform their music, and that spoke volume, because most young people in the art want people to be able to hear their creativity.
Well, let me stop you there, because
Okay.
some of the people who came through there is like Usher, who else? Lil Jon,
Okay.
and it goes on and on and on.
Okay.
And these people, they just come through there and do their thing. And because I had this thing called the Love Artist Network.
Exactly, yes.
And they didn't get any money, but they got a chance to be on the different events, like you say, the Auburn Fest,
Right.
Freaknik, and all that stuff. And I think that helped a lot of them with their career.
It did, because I ran into one of your protege, I guess you would say, Stoney Taylor.
Stoney, yeah.
Yeah, Stoney Taylor was an individual under your leadership, is now doing wonderful things with film. Okay, he expressed himself through video, putting things together to help, I guess, to help, express his creativity.
I know Stoney very well.
Yeah, and so he told me, the reason why I brought him up is because he told me you were instrumental in his career, where he's into now. And so with that being said, and I can imagine the other people, that lives that you have touched and kind of like mold and shape them, like me, for one, because working under you, I've learned that I can do a lot of things that I really wanted to do, because you would kind of push people to do certain things. And you know what I have of you and I have, from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, a picture of you and I at WRFG.
Wow, I like to see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to show it to you, give you a copy of it. But and see, while we were at WRFG, because of the exposure you gave the station, we had Creative Loafing coming in, taking pictures of the job and advertising WRFG and that particular radio personality. So it was so many things, positive things, that happened under your leadership. And because of you, I think this video is something that I wanted to do to acknowledge what you have done in the community, right? And so your song, your favorite song that you sang, what was it? Tell me the name of the song,
Well, it's called I Ain't Pick No Cotton.
Right.
But I worked for IBM.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
Abdul and most of the DJs back during that period of time, Jerry Bradford, Regine Bailey, and Cito, we were all part of that song. And we did it in Theodis Easley's basement.
Yeah. And
Theodis Easley would stand up in it?
Yeah, he actually, Theodis and I go all the way back to Ichabod Records.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And that was before stand up in it.
yeah. You see, he didn't get stand up in it till sometime later. Yeah, but because of you, right, with Johnny Taylor, these last $2. Remember when you broke that record? When you broke some Theodis music, giving him exposures and what have you. And when you have people that believe in you, you keep banging at whatever it is
Let
you
me
want to
tell you
do.
what we're getting ready to do now.
Okay.
I need to pardon me for cutting you off.
No, you're good.
For the last 10 or 15 years, I've been working with the oldest black radio station, which is WIGO,
Oh yeah.
1570 AM. But now, by doing that, I've gotten an opportunity to work at a new station.
Okay.
It's called 105. And what we're going to do, we've only been doing it for such a short period of time, but already we're the #1 streamed blues music station in the Metroplex.
Exactly.
I guess I'm putting that right.
No, and it's good because that was a genre of music that was trying to get lost.
Yeah, but we've been trying to keep it alive,
Yeah.
along with myself and Abdul and Charles Mitchell with the Just Blues Music Foundation. So blues is not dead. Blues is still alive, and we're going to make it happen.
Well, you know what I notice about just talking with the young people that I've worked with and everything, they can really appreciate old school music. And blues is one of those genres. Like,
there's just not enough educational outlets for them on the airwaves.
Right.
That's what I always say. If they could get exposed to it more on the airwaves, they would appreciate it more.
Yeah, I think if they had the opportunity to get into physical instrumental learnings about instruments and how to develop music, they can appreciate music more.
Yeah.
But seem like, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. So what I want to say,
I'm okay, but I'm not okay.
but we're gonna make sure we're not gonna even stay long with this, okay? Because I want you to be all right. But I do appreciate having known you, having been a part of your life. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love and sincerity that you have shown the people here in our community, and you know, with gathering the young people and believing in them so that they can believe in themselves to create their creativity.
Well, that's good, Loretta. I'm not a role model, like Charles Barkley said.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm trying to make sure that the image that I present is a positive image, and it's an approachable image, to where people can feel like, hey, I can go talk to that guy, and he's just not going to push me off and brush me off and say whatever, because that's what people did for me.
Right. And so because of that experience, knowing how to give back has helped a lot of people. And because you are giving back, this is why we're doing this video, because I wanted to acknowledge, my purpose is to acknowledge people in the community that nobody knows anything about.
Well,
as far as what they do.
Well, my motto to that is, I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody how to be somebody.
Okay, well then that is wonderful. And on that note, we're going to end this interview. And
if you need anything else, let me know.
Okay.
If you want to take some of these pictures, you can take some of the pictures of the awards and all of that stuff.
And we could just scan the room, and I can close out.
My life is an open book.
Okay, and I appreciate you sharing it with us. And thank you all for tuning in to what's happening in these streets with AKA Dr. Love at Love Studio. I'm Loretta Phelps, and once again, it's always a pleasure talking with those who help others to dream. Have a nice day.